This is your Pain Game podcast, where we talk about the game of living in and with chronic pain and trauma, getting to the heart of how to heal. I am your host, Lyndsay Soprano. On this show, I plan on discussing with doctors, chronic pain patients, holistic practitioners, loved ones, and anybody that is interested in having their voice heard in the chronic pain and trauma world that we live in. You know, it's not every day that you get to wake up and interview your favorite person on the planet. For those of you who have listened to my show, this love child of mine, you know about my sweetie, the unnamed, the mystery man, if you will. He has been weaved in some way into every episode and story that I tell from episode 1 until today. So today, my sweetie and I are going to celebrate my 100th episode of the Pain Game podcast together and with you. And as someone who has lived a life full of risk, the biggest risk that I've taken is him. It's been crazy. It's been amazing. It's been penetrating. It's been frustrating. It's been everything that you could possibly want in any kind of relationship. And we've had a most unexpected relationship, and love, quite frankly, that turned our lives, both of our lives and the lives of others, upside down. I think you would probably agree with that. We've lost friends and some family along the way, but nobody was going to get in our way because nothing in this universe is better than falling in love with someone entirely, with your whole being. And that's us. And I know it's totally gross. It's like so gross. And he's going to barf. I can't even believe we're not even hearing barfing sounds out of him yet. But everybody knows that when you are in the deep of something, when you are in the thick of it, that's all encompassing. You do lose the grasp of how you affect others. So today's episode, we haven't heard on this show from our loved ones. We haven't heard about their side of our chronic pain, right? And the effects of our past traumas on our pain, on surgeries, on whatever it is. We haven't talked about you. We haven't given you a voice. And I feel like those people who live beside us and love with us and put up with our debilitating pain and trauma, they need a voice. And it's a devastating position for anybody to be in. And I don't know anybody better to talk to about this than with my sweetie today. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to my sweetie. He does actually have a name, Bill Handel. Hey, babe.
Hello.
I'm probably going to cry.
Of course you are.
Well, we started, and before we did a practice run real quick to make sure sound was okay. How long did it take me to start to cry?
10 seconds.
10? Wow, you're giving me 10. Good
I am.
For you.
You just immediately started crying. I said, well, okay, we haven't gone too long into this before you start crying, but then that's what you do. You cry a lot.
Thank you.
That's right.
I know.
And in a good way most of the time. So it's entertaining to say the least. And kind of nice. You're in touch with your feelings, certainly.
I'm in touch with my feelings.
You are.
Well, someone's got to be in this household.
It's true.
All right, I'm going to do a little bragging about you, and then we're going to get into this. So for those of you who do not know Bill Handel, he is one of the top talk show radio personalities in the United States, broadcasting since 1985. And how old was I in 1985?
As you're constantly reminding
Carry
me.
the one.
Yeah, thanks.
He is overly educated. He is an attorney in third-party reproductive law. He is also the host of the nationally syndicated show Handel on the Law, which has become a staple on over 200 plus radio stations nationwide. He also has so many awards. I'm not going to list all of them, but for me, he has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which everybody thinks is super cool, and it is. But really importantly, he was inducted in the Radio Hall of Fame in 2017, amongst many other awards years earlier. And a few months ago, he was given the award for Broadcast Legend Award from the Radio, Television, and News Association. And those are just a few of reasons that I love him. So I'm rolling out the red carpet for you, honey. And I'd like to start kind of talking to you about what the hardest thing is for you dealing with my pain, and I don't even know if it's like today or if it's an overall kind of a question, but I'd like to hear from you about what's your hardest thing. Let's take it from there.
Well, both today and overall. And I don't know if there's a single hardest thing, but I'll tell you the hardest things is watching you in pain, watching you suffer, trying to do something about it and feeling helpless. That is really difficult, as many people who live with loved ones who deal with pain. And the good side is just watching you deal with it. Because as I've said, many times you're a trooper, you're magnificent. And it's difficult. I know it's difficult being with someone that you love where you can't do anything about it and you desperately want to.
Yeah, because it's hard. I mean, you want to help me, and I'm such a pusher througher. I never look like I'm in pain unless I'm like in so much pain. It's nuts. And, I fake it a lot. And when it comes to the part of my diagnosis, like what scares you the most about it? And don't hold back.
No, I won't. What scares me the most is it getting worse for you. When we travel and you have to walk any kind of distance, you're in a wheelchair, which is great for airports because we're always at the front of the line.
We do leverage it.
Yeah. And, anything where someone or we have to stand up for a long period of time, museums, walk slowly, it's the wheelchair. And that's difficult. And I think one of the most difficult things is not only feeling helpless, but since you are such a trooper, is seeing you go in the other room, or I'll run into you and maybe I'm looking at you peripherally and you're in such pain that you're crying and you don't want to share that with me. That's very, very difficult to see.
Well, it's hard to do. And, because I hide a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of my personality type too, though.
You do.
But I think we've come a long way. I mean, when you think about when we first did this whole thing, you and I, we're talking about 7 years ago, and my pain I was already diagnosed, and it was so small. When you think about my pain level at that point, it was minuscule, but it was there, and it started to have its own voice. And then it started to get a larger voice. And you've always been like, not that you've been haphazard about it, or not that you've been like, well, it's going to be fine. But there's an element that I think that helps me where you are kind of like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. Everything, we got it. Our line, we got it. We got it. But I feel like there's some parts of that I feel is almost like you're not processing what's going on with me as much as you should.
Right. And I think a lot of it is I don't want to process.
Oh, well, that's nothing new.
But in this instance specifically, because it is so traumatic for you, the pain, and sometimes it is so profound and debilitating. I am at a complete loss for even having to deal with it. And we've been together a long time, and I can blow things off, and I can compartmentalize. And I'll look at something else and look at you and say, you'll be okay, because I don't want to deal with it. You deal with it every moment because it's you. It's easier for me not to deal with it than dealing with it, watching you. It hurts. I suffer, not clearly as much as you do because I don't undergo the pain, but it's a tough way to go. It really is for both of us, more so for you, as I said.
And you do a very good job of working with me and trying to help me and work through all of these. I mean, between doctor's appointments and all the woo-woo stuff that in the beginning you were like, there's no freaking way this woo-woo crap is going to work. How do you feel about that these days?
Well, for the most part, I still think woo-woo is woo-woo and it's complete bullshit, except for the fact I've seen it kind of work for you.
Right.
We've tried everything else. I've seen you through virtually every Western medical approach that there is. And no one knows what the hell they're talking about with CRPS. I mean, medical science, it's just not a disease that, number one, can be diagnosed easily.
No.
Certainly can't be dealt with easily. no drugs out there. It's one of those diseases that so few people actually have them. You'll never see the pharmaceutical companies jumping in and doing research. There isn't enough money. There aren't enough people out there.
That's right. Yeah, because it's super rare. But gosh, so when it comes to helping me through all of these things, all of the woo-woo, all of that, what do you think are some of the main contributing factors to my pain?
I am.
Everybody that knows this is like, yes, that's true.
That's absolutely true.
Sure.
Well, yeah, I think the contributing factors to your pain, other than me, and by the way, I'm not exaggerating here.
No, none of us are exaggerating.
I do things that affect you. Stress affects you dramatically. I mean, I see that A equals B or A plus B equals C.
Yeah.
I can see it right in front of my face when that happens. A lot of stress means a lot of pain. Lower stress means lower pain. And so, unfortunately, because of the way I roll, because of the demands that I make, I don't know if you've talked about this before on the show, but I am basically useless as a human being.
No, I've never called you useless.
No, you haven't, but certainly in the sense of I have always made a very good living, and I've always had people do everything for me. I've paid people to do it. As someone once told me, Bill, you would pay someone to wipe your ass. I go, I certainly would.
I know, and I do it, and it is not fun.
Well, it is not yet. Not yet.
Oh my God.
We'll get there.
We're like 7 years away.
Yeah, no, we'll get there. We'll get there because we're going back to the age difference when we started. And you've taken over that entire role. You've effectively become everybody and taken care of me extraordinarily well. I mean, across the board, emotionally, certainly business-wise, managing my life, our life. So there's a lot there. And whenever stress comes into the picture, and I personally cause a lot of stress, my family causes a lot of stress to us. Certainly the circumstances of us being together in this journey that we've taken, which is astounding when you look at what has happened to us, all of that giving you stress. And there's the pain. There's the pain. The two are connected. And the fact that I sometimes add to the pain is horrific for me. You know, lots of guilt, Jewish guilt, as you said.
Jewish Guilt Olympics.
Yeah, I am a gold medalist in the Jewish Guilt Olympics.
He's got 20 of them.
I certainly do. Lots of gold medals. So, add all that together and we've got the beginning of the description of our relationship.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that because stress is, and this isn't just about my life and Bill's life, it is straight up. There was an episode a couple weeks ago with Dr. Sidoroff, and we talked about specifically about we talked about this on the show all of the time, about how stress affects our body, our well-being, our health, our sleep, our eating habits, all of it. And it is so incredibly important when you're talking about dealing with anybody that lives in chronic pain or any form of illness. Quite frankly, if they're perfectly healthy, we all have to be better about how we manage our stress and who we bring into our lives and who we say, kick fucking rocks, get out of here because I don't want you in my world anymore. Or I don't want that job in my life anymore. I don't want that client in my life anymore because we are here to heal. And we are here to be better humans, and we are here to be in better relationships, and we are here to live longer. We have to pay more attention to it because in the olden days, people would say stress, and we, whatever. It is legitimately a thing in this, especially in the United States of America. And with women, we take on far more than we should because we're picking up after our sweeties. We're picking up after our kids. We're picking up after our dogs. We're doing so many other things on top of having full-time jobs, on top of running their own podcast or their own side gig, their side hustle, whatever it is. And so we have to be better about managing that. And I know in our relationship, we're getting better at it, honey. But it's not easy.
No, and you particularly have a very difficult time because you're an empath, as you said. So you feel more than most people do. There are many times when I'll tell you, just don't give a shit. Come on. It isn't that important. Let's think about something else. This is not a 10. It's more of a 3 or a 4. And for you, that's difficult. You feel more than most. And unfortunately, you have the bad luck of having CRPS and feeling more than most people. Combine the two, that equals stress, and that equals more pain. And it is, we're going back. It's difficult to see. And I hate to see you undergo that. And we've tried. We've worked very hard. As a matter of fact, you've done a pretty good job of blowing people and things off. And I think I've helped you do that.
Oh, 100%, honey.
And I think you have helped me and both of us. I mean, we've gone through this the last 6-7 years, and we've both gotten much, much better at saying that's not important.
Mm-hmm.
For you, it's just that's not important means pain is less. For me, that's just not important because it shouldn't be.
Yeah, and there are things that we disagree, and I think this is in every couple in any relationship. Is there are things that we disagree? What this is important and that is important, but I think overall, I mean, even down to like doing the stuff for the house and things. I mean, we believe in the same things politically. We do. Where even the stuff for the new house, like we're picking out furniture, and we're picking out this. That we don't ever fight. I mean, every now and again, we've had like 2 doozies, like two big doozies in our relationship, but big picture. I think that we handle a lot of the stuff that comes at us fairly well. But there are those times where things that come in that do raise my stress level, and it's instantaneous, right? And there's people that you and I know that we've identified, and we're not going to throw them under the bus here today. But there are people that we've identified in our lives that are like, when we have conversations with these people, that raises our stress level and it raises my pain level. And I think that we've been good about being better about identifying them and eliminating them, or at least spending less time with them. But one of the things that I'm most concerned about is that you don't end up harnessing resentment against me and my pain.
No, that I've never done. That just, it never even occurred to me until you just said it. Never even entered my mind of any resentment. I'm resentful that we have to go through this together.
Sure.
Resentful of you? No. I think the only time that I've been resentful of you is when we were choosing some furniture and you wanted a modern version of the furniture. I wanted it to look like an Iranian whorehouse. And I did most of the compromising.
Well, I'm not putting anything from an Iranian whorehouse into our home. Well, thank you for saying that, because I know like resentment is a huge thing that comes into relationships. And in the chronic pain community, there are people that handle it like I do, and there are people that handle it like I don't do, right? And I was close, how many years ago? I don't know, 4 years ago or something, where I didn't, well, actually, before we started the Pain Game podcast, remember when we started to talk about doing the show? And I didn't really know what I wanted to talk about. I just thought I was just going to kind of like talk about pain and complain about it. And that wasn't going to work, because I realized that I needed to shift within my own mindset and shift how I thought about pain and how we were going to handle pain in our life, and have us give my pain purpose. And that's what we've done together. And obviously the show has done it, but it turned into, I was feeling like I was going to be resentful about pain, and I was going to be resentful about the people that didn't understand me or didn't want to talk about it all the time. And it's like, I don't want to talk about it all the time. So I was worried about the show turning into a big whine-a-thon, which I'm not, right? I'm not a big whiner.
No, you're not at all.
Yeah. I mean, I try not to be. I mean, everybody has their moments, but I try really hard to not be that whining, crying, sitting on the couch, sucking my thumb, all of that.
Not even a little bit. As a matter of fact, I'm far greater a whiner than you are.
Oh, well, hands down. Everybody knows that.
Yeah. I mean, it's, and watching you live your life without whining is it's frankly a miracle the way I see it. I don't know who else could put it off. I think we've both often said that if in some bizarre way, it's easier for you to have this pain than for me to have this pain, I would blow my brains out.
Oh, 100%.
And we both know that. And that's not an exaggeration.
No, absolutely not. You would have jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge by now. I mean, we take you to the urgent care when you have a paper cut. And we always say that as a joke, but guys, it's absolutely not a joke.
Yeah, I would be one of those people who truly would end it because I just couldn't take the pain anymore. And to watch you deal with it, and I've mentioned this, and I've told people about it, and on my broadcast I've said it, is that, matter of fact, when I do spots for the Pain Game podcast on my national show, I describe you, the host of the show, Lyndsay Soprano, dealing with her pain heroically. And I think that's a word that is very appropriate here, very apropos.
Heroically.
Yeah, you do.
All right. Well, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But I would rather be heroic about it and give my pain purpose and give our pain, because quite frankly, it has become our world and our pain and what we deal with. But I feel so good about how we've chosen to go through this, where I've seen so many other couples break up, get divorced. I mean, a CRPS is called the suicide disease, and we've had scary moments. We've had scary moments with medication that doctors have given me. We've had scary moments of wanting to just not be here and put up with it and live with it. And you have helped me through that. And I just want to thank you for that, because it is really scary when you live in so much pain and you think, God, great, it's going to get worse in a year from now. Like, I'm 46 years old. You're 102.
True.
Yeah. And so I still have, a million years longer to go. And I don't know how long I'm going to be able to put up with it. And those thoughts are so hard to fight through. And you help me through them. And thank you for that.
Well, of all the people in the world that are going to end up dying of old age or some kind of crazy ass disease or get hit by a truck, it's going to be you. You're not going to end it all because you are suffering this pain. And I think a lot of it has to do. And when you first started this show, let me go to that point.
Okay.
I thought, okay, she's going to do a podcast. I'm going to support her as much as possible. It's going to be, an avocation.
Whatever, blah, blah.
And then as you got into it, now you're 2 years into this thing. When you say giving pain a purpose, I just thought that was a slogan. I really did. I just thought that was just a throwaway, a marketing line.
Damn marketers.
Damn marketers. And it clearly is not. It is truly a description of how you deal with your pain and how you talk to others about your pain. I've often said, I just started a podcast. I have a couple of radio shows. And to me, that's just entertainment. What this podcast does, what your podcast does, this is really serious stuff. It really does have meaning. It really makes an impact. And I've told you that before many times. What I do is fluff. I mean, I'm good at it. As you
You're
said,
great at it.
Yeah, I've gotten tons of awards. I make a terrific living doing it. But it's not what you're doing. What you're doing, I believe to this moment, is far more important. And that says a lot about you, and it says a lot about your communication. It says a lot about how you're dealing with your pain. It says a lot about how you feel about other people dealing with pain and how you help them. It's extraordinary. It really is. And I'm very, very proud of you for doing that.
Thank you. It's not like you to blow sunshine up people's asses.
No.
So I appreciate
it. No, I do not. I do not.
I was going to say something else there, but I thought maybe I should hold that back when we were talking about blowing things up people's asses.
Yes. Yeah. And that part of it, I love you also, where both of us, if possible, you go to the lowest common denominator. And matter of fact, we laugh the most when either one of us makes some ridiculous, depraved, either scatological or sexual or both.
Oh, at the same time, please. Gosh, I'm not a monster.
Yes.
But we have such a wonderful time together. And you're my best buddy, man. And I am so happy to do this thing with you. And thank you for helping me get through all of this, and vice versa. I mean, you're going to be, with a walker soon, and I got to deal with diapers. I mean, it's a whole thing coming up. Talk about the Pain Game podcast.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Yeah. No, you are a brilliant mind, and I wouldn't be with anybody else but you on this life. I mean, I am so grateful to go on the next, however long we're both going to be around on this planet journey together. And hopefully all of the work that we're doing here, and a lot of it has come from the Pain Game podcast, is meeting all these people and meeting these healers and having these conversations and accepting where I am and accepting where we are with my body. And sometimes it's hour by hour. Sometimes it's day by day, and we just kind of, we push through. And I'm so happy that we are where we are because we're better off than we were like 6 months ago with my pain.
That's true. It's in many ways it's getting better. Also.
It is.
You know, people are listening and watching, and here we are, each of us telling the other how terrific, how great, how grateful we are. And people have to be thinking this is a mutual masturbation session.
It might be.
Having. Yeah.
I mean, we only have our shirts from our waist up on. So.
Yes, that's true. Going commando. Other than that, and the pain, and you don't know when the pain comes from. I never know. You know, for example, we have sex, and all of a sudden you say it hurts, and I know it is in reference to the size of my schwanz. By the way, that is a complete joke. I just had to throw that in. I couldn't control myself.
It's actually true. It does hurt sometimes to have sex, and some of that is CRPS, and so there's some of that stuff that goes in. And at the end of the day, I'm like, alley-oop, let's go, cowgirl up. But there's so many aspects of our lives that have been affected by it. And I mean, from the fact that, you know, my eating disorder came from this, and you've had to deal with me and food, and I have to like brag that I'm eating something because everybody's super excited that Lyndsay's eating. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, I don't want to draw much more attention to that. I'd like to draw more attention to some more positive things and some other ways that we can talk about moving forward and talk about the growth that we've had and the success that we've had, even just in the short 6 months that we've been working with the functional nutritionist that we've been working with. She was a guest on the show, actually, Vashti, and she has helped me unbelievably how I am. I'm walking barefoot for the first time in 5 years. I mean, I can't do it constantly, but that in of itself, it sounds like something so stupid. It is legitimately something that I've been working towards. And so here's a big win for us. And so celebrating those big wins, guys, when they can be little, but they're big, you know, and whatever means anything to you that is a win for you. Don't worry about what anybody else is saying. Don't worry about what anybody else's wins are. Don't worry about what the next guy is saying about their pain, especially when you're talking about something like CRPS, where everybody's bodies handle it differently. Don't judge yourself. Don't point your finger at everybody else doing any better than you. You can only be good at where you are within your life, but take ownership of it. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. If you act like an asshole and you're doing stuff that's counterproductive to your pain or to your illness or to your relationship, this isn't just about chronic pain, physical pain. This is about trauma. You guys know this. We talk about this all the time. So give yourself the wins, you know, even if they're tiny, because they're so important, because they build up to something huge. And that's what I've been working towards. And I'm already reaping the benefits from it. And we both have, quite frankly, you and I, hun. And, you know, I couldn't ask for a better life right now. And that says a lot. And that says a lot to you as well as my audience and my family and my friends. Absolutely, for sure. I'm exhausted.
No surprise. I've seen you. I've seen you get into this mode when you are doing these interviews and doing the show. You'll come out just thrashed. Oh, you put so much into it, you know. It's
and I was nervous to do this with you.
I know you were.
I was totally nervous.
Yeah, you were, and it's. I can see why. I mean, you're talking about. I think it's the first time you mentioned my name.
First time. Nobody's ever met you. You've been my sweetie for my 99 episodes.
Right, and part of that is we kept our relationship a secret for many years, and you've been terrific about that. And even now, I'm becoming more and more open. I talk about it on my radio show. That you and I are more than involved with each other.
We're more than involved,
and it has not been easy. It has not been easy with my ex and my kids, and it's difficult. So we would now reach the point where, you know, I think we're having a normal. Sort of adult, if you can describe as an adult, which is not easy to do.
Not with you.
No. And I would say mature, regular couple life. And did you mention we're getting married in March?
I did not mention that we were getting married in March, but you lucky bastard.
Yeah, March of 2025.
Yep.
We're getting married.
Yep.
And you were one of the fun topics of conversation. Is Lyndsay from her previous marriage had this incredible, gorgeous ring, a multi-carat diamond, And I said, let's just use that again.
What a dick.
And
Unbelievable.
why would I get you another diamond when you have such a great diamond?
People are running off the road in their cars because they're like, what? That's right, guys. He wanted to reuse my last wedding ring. And those of you who know him very well, if there's anybody from KFI that are listening, they're like, yeah, that sounds about right. Well, thank you for remedying that. So let's get back to where we were talking about before we hit the trail. So for people that live with people like myself, not me, Lyndsay, but people that live in chronic pain, do you have any advice for their loved ones? Because I mean, really, this is about giving a voice to them and giving them some hope and some like, guys, hang on. And I know a lot of the people that are listening that have loved ones, and that is a lot of our listeners, especially when it comes to the demographics in the male category of demographics. The men are listening for their wives, their sisters, their daughters. It's pretty amazing.
Sure. First of all, you can't be equivocal about love. If it isn't a deep love, it's not going to work. The pain would overwhelm any kind of relationship described like that.
Sure.
So we have to have, or you have to have, or I have to have a profound love. With that, then you go together through life. And part of life is CRPS. Now, we have great times. I mean, we travel a lot. We laugh a lot.
Oh my gosh, so much.
Yeah, I mean, we're constantly laughing. And then part of that is the mishigas, the baggage that we bring to the table. I bring lots and lots of baggage. You, Lyndsay, bring lots of baggage. Yours is more physical than mine. Mine is emotional and family and maturity issues and compartmentalization issues. So we go back to how do you deal with it? You start with really loving a person. You have no choice. Otherwise, you're not going to deal with it. Don't even try. And from that comes, it's hard. I mean, it's hard. I feel helpless. I walk around every morning. I ask you, how's your pain level? And you hate that. You hate that because I want to know.
Every morning. It's like, how did you sleep? What did you do? How did you do? How many hours? It gives the rundown of where the dog slept. Where were they? I mean, I'm like, oh my God, I've been up for 17 seconds.
That's true. I'm up. The alarm goes off or way before the alarm. I'm up, done, and I'm running around in the shower, so I don't do the snooze. You have a harder time getting up. So I'm always asking, what's the pain level? And when you say it's a 2, I'm thrilled. When you say it's a 6 or a 7, I'm concerned and upset. And when you say whether it's an 8 or a 9, I'm devastated.
Yeah.
And then we go from there. And hope you sleep, because that's the other thing. CRPS is very difficult to sleep with because at night there are very few distractions like there are during the day. We all have that issue. And so, I mean, that's part of living with you. And that's part of what you bring to the table. And is it worth it in the end? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah,
it is. I mean, would I have it any other way? Sure. I'd rather have you not have this. But, when you look at it, you weigh, you balance it, risk reward. And to me, it's not much of a choice, or it's not much of an issue. I mean, the reward is far, far higher.
Oh, thanks, honey buns. Well, I mean, a lot of the reason why our love has survived my diagnosis is because we're also real and true and open and honest with each other. I mean, there's nothing more honest than loving someone who lives in debilitating pain and continues to show up. I mean, good God. I mean, I give you all the credit in the world for that. And we know all of the dark and twisty stuff that's happened. And, you showing up is like, it's amazing. And I'm so grateful for that. I feel almost bad even saying this to a certain extent, because I feel like there are people that might be listening that don't have a spouse that's like you, that doesn't have a spouse that legitimately is like, I'm fucking in, Lyndsay, and vice versa with me. It's just a different reason. But I just, not that this is a big applaud session, but it is. It's something that I know is not easy for you. And my parents know it. My friends know it. My clients know it. Everybody knows what you, to a certain extent, put up with or have to deal with. And I just want to make sure that everybody that's listening and those that have loved ones that are quote unquote putting up with you, give them some grace too, because they're showing up for us in ways that we might not know about. They might be showing up for us in conversations that we've never heard about, that they're talking with their friends there, because they're leaning on other people to figure out what the hell to do with us too. Not just therapists, but their friends and family members as well. So we have to make sure that we're giving grace to those people that love us, because they're part of this too.
Yeah.
I mean,
big part. It's doing this, and I'm just guessing now. Undergoing this kind of pain, dealing with CRPS by yourself without support of family, loved ones, friends, has to be beyond difficult. Actually, impossible to deal with. I look at your mom. I'm very close to your parents, as you know.
I do.
Mainly because they're my age.
Just a little close.
Yeah,
in fact, my mother's just a little bit older than you.
Yeah, and your dad is 6 months older than I am. Yeah. To the point where when you first introduced me to him, I say, "Do I call you Dad?"
My dad's like,
"Yeah," and he said, "No, I don't think so." And so it's I'm not going to say it's wonderful, because that's a very bad description. But when your mom starts talking about how you deal with this and what you're undergoing, she breaks down and starts crying.
I know.
And it's and your dad cries a lot, and you cry a lot.
We're criers.
You are. Yeah, you cry from
you're marrying into a bunch of empaths.
Yeah.
We're wild and crazy and empaths.
I mean, it's I can hold up a fork and you'll start crying. You take the dishes out of the dishwasher, and if there is a spot, you break out crying. I mean, you just cry a lot. You just rolled your eyes.
I most definitely just rolled my eyes.
Yeah. So maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit.
You never exaggerate.
No. But I think a lot of it has to do, and I'm just seeing it, that it would be so much more difficult for you if you didn't have the kind of support that you have from your parents, from me, from your friends.
Yes.
Which you get enormous support.
I do. And my hope for the world of people that live in chronic pain and chronic illness, and also just traumatic things that happen to people, my hope is that they have people like you and like my family and my support team that I have. I have my personal board of directors. I ask people questions before I make big decisions, and everybody's got to kind of get a vote in that whole thing. Like, it's really important, guys. It is so incredibly important that you have good support. And if you don't have it with the people that are in your life, find them. Find them, because it is the only way that you're going to truly get through, because we all need to lean upon others. We can't get through this world on our own. We cannot get through shit that happens to us on our own. We can't. We absolutely cannot.
Particularly when this much pain happens this regularly. If I had to guess, and you are, as you know, I've told you many, many times, the trooper of all troopers. And I've never said this, by the way, Lyndsay. This just came into my head just as a result of what you said. If you didn't have the support from your loved ones, your family, from me, your parents, I think you'd be one of those people that wouldn't make it through. I think you'd be throwing yourself off of a building and doing it with a swan dive, hitting the pavement.
Well, if I was going to do it, I would do it well.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. You would probably do it on the podcast, and boy, would that get listeners, right?
Wow. Thank you. But no, you're right. I mean, the support team that I have has gotten me through so much stuff. And a lot of it has been, being given all these crazy medications and all these surgeries and all this stuff that when you're in so much pain, you're trying so hard to get out of it. If I had listened to this episode, or any of my episodes, quite frankly, on my show without me, if it was just me listening to myself years ago, or listening to somebody like myself talk about this stuff, I would have made very, very different decisions when it came to my care. And now that I'm in the place where I'm actually in charge of my care, instead of doctors and all of these people that are trying to, I'm not even going to get on my soapbox about this stuff, because I can go down that road. But if I paid more attention to me and what I really wanted for my life and the people that love me, instead of listening to all these people out of desperation, I would definitely be in a better place. I think we would have gained years. I mean, just think about the spinal cord surgeries that I had. Oh my God, what a freaking nightmare. I didn't need any of it.
No, you
And
didn't.
all it did was cause me more pain. And it still causes me problems. And the thing's out.
Right.
I mean, there's a lead still in my spine because they forgot to take that out, but whatever. So there's all kinds of random things that are going on with that. But thank you for saying that, because I think that we all definitely need that support. And yeah, I probably would have taken a swan dive off. Would I have been listening to gangster rap while doing it? Absolutely.
Well, one of the things is, and you pointed out that I make fun of woo-woo medicine. I am not into alternative medicine or supplements or any of that. For me, it's real doctors, FDA-approved drugs that have been tested, that have been double-blind tested, and finally get approval. That's where I was, and none of that was working for you.
None of
And
it
I
did. It actually almost killed me.
Right. I mean, no, I saw that for the first time. And now I'm looking at it differently, certainly in terms of you. I mean, watching you, for example, chew on bushes, for whatever alternative care you can get. But if it works,
I am not chewing on bushes.
If it works, it works. Now, even you, if you need surgery, if you have a broken leg or you have to replace a knee or a hip, okay.
Western medicine has its place. It absolutely does. Open heart surgery, for example. Back surgery, for example. We both have had heart surgery. Both of us back surgery. Like, yes, there is a place for it. But we're going on to a whole different level of things that we don't even need to be going down, because I think we'll be here for an hour and a half if we keep doing that. So, okay. So thank you for being here as a support, and thank you for talking to my audience a little bit about like what you've been through, because I think the voice of our loved ones is incredibly important. So for those of you that live in something similar to what I'm going through, or absolutely nothing similar to what I'm going through, but do need the support, like if you have them, give them some love. I mean, and if you don't, find it. You've got me. You can reach out to me at the Pain Game Podcast. I am here. I've got so many people and loving people in my community, and I'm starting a new community that is a tease. Nobody knows about it yet, but it's coming very soon. And it is a pain community like none other that you'll ever be involved with. And it's going to be pretty miraculous. And Bill is going to be part of it, as well as many other people in my circle and outside of my circle. Actually, a bunch of guests that have been on the show that are going to be part of it as well. It's something that's going to be pretty awesome. And so, hun, when I first, it's funny because, and just for the audience's sake, my ex-husband introduced me to Bill's show when I fell in love with your brain. And I just found you so freaking funny and so dark and so depraved and so gross and so everything that I love in a man. Like my dream was to kind of work with you and to broadcast with you in some way, shape, or form, because I did fall in love with your brain. And I wanted to talk to you all the time. And I wanted to share everything and anything with you before I ever knew that I wanted to. And so here we are.
Yeah. And that's very generous of you, by the way, to say if you can be reached at the Pain Game Podcast, because you do respond.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, if you want to reach me at the Pain Game Podcast, don't even bother, because I have no intention of ever responding.
You can reach Bill at the Pain Game Podcast because I will respond on behalf of him. But he is on social media as well. But he doesn't do any of his social media. Now I do, and many other people at KFI who help us through it. But at my 100th episode, you've helped make this happen. And for that, I will be forever grateful, my darling.
It's been my pleasure, my love.
Thank you, honey. So you can find Bill at Bill Handel Show everywhere. And also, we just launched a new podcast for him, actually, in what are the words? He's still doing his morning show, so don't worry about it. He still has his legal show. Now we just want more to do. And so we decided to start a podcast. So we just launched it a couple weeks ago. And you can go to the website, thebillhandelshowpodcast.com. And you can find him on all of the socials. You can find him on, obviously, the iHeartRadio app, Spotify, Apple, wherever you digest your content from. He will be there. Is there anything that you'd like to leave our listeners with besides the fact that you get to marry this crazy-ass woman in March, you lucky bastard?
No, just say even with all of it, in your case, it's certainly worth it all. And anybody who can say it's worth it no matter what, then I know how a profound relationship that you have. That's one way of defining someone really in love. And that's certainly me.
Oh, I love you, honey.
Yeah, me too.
You are exclusively invited to share this Love Each Other Hard VIP pain journey together. Let's get to the heart of how to heal with you by my side. Please follow the Pain Game podcast wherever you digest your podcast content. We will be there. Visit us at thepaingamepodcast.com and follow us on all the socials. Thanks for listening, my little VIPs. Catch you on the other side.